Welcome, everybody, to Infinite Horizon. We are here, coming once again on a Wednesday evening from where we are, bringing you another show. Yes, hello, everybody. We have some announcements to start off the show with, as we usually do. Henry, if you wouldn't mind.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you are staying well. Here come the normal announcements. First of all, there are a few ways that you can support us apart from subscribing right here on Twitch. I think it's right above me. One of them is to check out our Patreon, where you can find behind the scenes tidbits and supplemental stuff from our previous shows and from this show now, actually, and opportunities to take place in world building for our TTRPG shows. Up there now is the first character journal for Infinite Horizon, which is my character, Olam.
It's
So
really
check
good.
that out.
It's very good.
It's also available to subscribers on Twitch. We try to make the first and second tier patron rewards available to Twitch subscribers too, so you don't have to pick between one or the other. And then
You
for
can
the
find
high,
that on... What? You
On-
can find that on Discord.
yes, Discord. The highest tier on Patreon gets to take part in world building opportunities. So that's a very special thing. So check out Patreon. A quick, easy way to toss us a couple bucks is this little thing called coffee. So take a look at that for our short-term goal, to take a look at our short-term goals and to throw us a few bucks if you like.
Which reminds me, I'm outing us on stream so that we hold ourselves to it. But
Oh, yeah.
we need to update our goal for that. So
Yes, we do.
Yay!
because we achieved
Oh yeah,
it.
because that's another announcement, I guess. Do we
Yes,
have
it is.
a Nightbot thing for that?
We don't, not yet. But
Okay, but there's a button. We have a merch store now. You can scroll down to the panels and it's right up on the top.
yeah,
And you can get a mug to hold liquid or a shirt to hold human body inside it.
It's the best way to put that, I think.
you could potentially
right
hold other
along.
types of bodies in there, but it probably won't fit that well. So
You're right. That's a good point. We have a YouTube channel.
Big dog, maybe.
Yeah, where we upload episodes of Infinite Horizon after they stream. There's also the character prologues for Infinite Horizon on there. You can also catch Infinite Horizon in podcast form on Anchor, from where it is available on many different platforms. So however you like to listen to a podcast, find it there.
Anchor, Spotify, Breaker, Google Podcasts, Overcast, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, and the RSS feed is available if you have a third-party platform that you prefer. Thank you to our podcast listeners. I know there are a few people who are like exclusively podcasts. Hi, shout
somebody
out to
joined
you.
us in Discord today from our podcast specifically. So like
Yeah.
the podcast
Yeah,
listeners.
that was so cool.
The long arms of the rule of lore empire. Finally, we've mentioned this a few times. We have a Discord, so please join us there. Talk about your own projects, see stream announcements, see what we're working on, and
And if you're a subscriber here on Twitch, you can also get access to the some of the Patreon rewards as well. So
check it out. Okay, I think that's the normal announcements.
do we have? Let's see. We
I
have
have a
personal
Caitlin
announcements, I think, right? Caitlin.
Yeah, I have a Caitlin announcement.
Caitlin announcements.
One, if you want to catch more of this face on some Tabletop RPG streams, on Friday I am guesting on go_JG, Jess's channel on Twitch for a Goblin Cypher game. It's going to be so good. If you follow me on Twitter, all of the info will be there, but I believe it is at 5 p.m. Pacific, and it's going to be a very good time, so you can check that out. And also, my podcast, Stone Houses, is back. Stone Houses cast on Twitter. We put out an episode about Baba Yaga this week. It's very fun.
Ooh.
Those are my Caitlin announcements. Thank you for coming.
Yeah. Anybody else have personal announcements of things that are happening, exciting things that are happening in their lives?
I managed to do one cartwheel today.
I'm so proud of you.
Hey.
Zero
I
stretching.
guess
Hey.
I have a personal announcement. If any of you guys are interested in poetry, I have a poem of mine that's going to be published this March in this really, really cool online press called Ghost City Press. They're really, really awesome. They spotlight a lot of writers and queer poets and queer writers, and it's all digital, so you don't have to subscribe or anything. You can just go and read it all online for free. So it's a really, really cool publication. I would really recommend checking them out. And I don't know when the March thing is going live, but I can put a link to it in the Discord when it does, and it'll be on my Twitter. So
Awesome.
Hell yeah.
Congrats.
That's cool.
All right. Well, is that everything? Did we get everything? I think that is all. Okay, well, then, without any further ado, let's get into tonight's episode of Infinite Horizon.
Some will say this is the end. We're surrounded, but we won't give in. No. Who will save us? Who will save us? Sometimes you gotta let go. Leave it up to the hero. Who will save us? Who will save us? When the truth's in the shadows. All hail to the heroes. They're gonna save us. Yeah, save us. Yeah, save us today.
And we're back. Welcome back, everybody. When we left off, hold on, moving away from chat. Also, hello, welcome to the beginning of the episode, Gemini Lightning. Okay, when we left off, or should I maybe start with a more like bombastic announcer, like previously on Infinite Horizon?
I like that. I've been picturing that in my head for some reason for these episodes.
number 2 for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm definitely not going to do that the whole time.
You've said it. You have to commit now. Everyone wants it. Give the people what they want. Like
I
That's
do
just the GM
what I
voice
want,
from now.
Caitlin. All right. So previously on Infinite Horizon, I think we left off having narrowly escaped a successful attempt by one of the corporations to glass one of their own colonies after an outbreak of some sort of, not viral infection, but some sort of bizarre, some sort of strange thing causing a bunch of the colonists to behave erratically and go feral, essentially. After escaping that, the crew set course for Sulon, an entire city inside of a hollowed-out asteroid, where hopefully they would be able to set down, enact some repairs on their ship, and plan out their next move, and possibly even get some answers, as the coordinates to Sulon were ones that they were given by a mysterious message found on the ship that they awoke from cryostasis. During this transition, Bina discovered some sort of strange non-physical presence on the ship. It looked like she looked like a hologram, but had emotional presence, as if she were an actual being on the ship. Bina attempted to calm her down, and that only turned into her just sort of vanishing again, although Bina still felt that presence. In the meantime, Peach, unconscious due to mysterious circumstances, started finding herself drifting in and out of dreams, not her own, other people's dreams. One of a young boy that she didn't quite recognize, which was a happy dream that quickly shifted into a nightmare. And the other, she sort of found herself walking into Olam's dream as he slept aboard the ship. He became aware of her, and the two of them started trying to piece together what was going on. But as that happened, some of Olam's own nightmares started intervening in the form of some of the warped from the planet. They had just escaped. Peach managed to wake Olam up in the dream, kind of pushing him out of the dream, but not before she was beset by a forceful presence, similar to the one that she had felt outside the research facility on the colony. Eventually, Peach awoke as well, managing to escape this forceful presence, and the group reconvened, trying to parse some of the bizarre occurrences that had begun taking place around them. But all of that sort of aside, they set about making preparations for their arrival at Sulon, where Bina, making use of one of her old contacts from back in her days of running shipping liners, managed to find them a pretty sweet, out-of-the-way sort of parking spot for a pretty solid deal of nothing, for old time's sake kind of deals. However, so after that point, they set off into the city itself, trying to find supplies, maybe some answers, during which they had a brief respite in a city square, going to some food trucks, getting themselves fed for the first time since waking up. And unfortunately, it didn't last long, because while they were sitting there having some moderately pleasant interactions, starting to feel almost normal again, Mason noticed a broadcast, a news broadcast that had all of their faces on it, with the headline "Fugitives at large after deadly terrorist attack on an outer colony," at which point Bina noticed some individuals making their way none too subtly through the crowd towards them, with intent on their minds, and all of them fled the city square, attempting to lose their pursuit in the alleyways of the city. Failing to do so, they were cornered when they were rescued by a mysterious Keldra woman who later introduced herself as Zaya, who displayed some extraordinary abilities, such as the ability to take a bullet at point-blank range, and still be able to basically rip apart the opposition. Zaya then informed them that she'd been looking for them and led them off to hopefully safe haven. They had a brief conversation when they reached an old abandoned apartment complex, where Zaya informed them that she was the one who had planted the virus on their ship that had caused it to malfunction and take off without its crew, and told them that she was working with the mysterious individual known as Wire, who had left them their sort of note and instruction to come here, which is where Zaya was taking them. So the whole thing ended with, last week when we left off, it ended with Zaya seemingly perturbed by the fact that you were the only people to survive that ship, and with a sense of renewed determination, showed you inside a well-hidden secret room, or secret stairway, actually, and that's pretty much where we stopped. So, that brings us directly into tonight's episode. So, as you all are following Zaya down this hidden stairway, the stairway itself is illuminated with sort of a soft bluish light that comes from below the graded platform. And as you make your way down, you can see below you a series of luminescent tubes that snake underneath you, under the stairs, and a variety of machinery, all of which looks to an unpracticed eye like a jumbled mess. Bina would probably recognize some of this stuff as cooling systems, and you could see, in fact, some of the tubes as you look at them, it's not so much that they're glowing, rather that they're completely transparent and are glowing from within, with the luminescent cooling liquid that is running through them.
Is it cold in the hallway that we're in?
No, it's actually a little bit
normal.
just a little on the stuffy side, actually.
Okay.
But you proceed down these graded metal stairs, after a few moments, reaching a room that looks like it kind of looks like a repurposed boiler room. Like, you can still see a lot of the pipe that's still in here that was unable to be removed because it's actually like physically part of the building. The rest of it looks like it has all been basically gutted. Looking around, you can see that there's a few dividers that have been set up that take this single room and sort of split it up into a few different sections, some of which you can't see from your current position making your way in. The most notable thing about this room, as you're looking around, is that there is technology everywhere. There are monitors on almost every wall and surface. They displaying all sorts of different. Some of them are news feeds. Some of it looks like data. Some of it is looks like coding language. It's just everywhere. There are monitors everywhere, and suddenly, Bina, the cooling systems make sense to you because this amount of equipment requires it, like, puts off a lot of heat. You'd need some pretty solid heat sinks to get rid of to compensate for that. It also explains partially the general stuffiness of the room that you found yourself in. There is the section that you're standing in. There's a low table and an very old-looking couch, both of which have sundry technological bits and bobs just scattered all over them. This looks like there's computers and monitors everywhere. You can even see a couple. You would recognize a couple of server racks that are just like pushed towards the back of the room. But then glancing over kind of past some of the dividers to one side, you can actually catch a glimpse of what looks like it's probably a bed. This is somebody's living quarters, or at the very least a technological safe house of some sort. As you enter the room and Zaya looks at you, makes note of you all kind of taking in the room, she grins and shrugs and says, "Welcome to paradise, I guess."
Well, that's quite a setup you've got here.
Oh, it's not mine. It's this is all wire. She's around here somewhere, I think. Zaya calls out, "Why are you in here?" And there's no response. You can hear like what sounds like shuffling movement from somewhere else in the room.
Trap door, maybe?
Huh?
A trap door, maybe?
You don't see any, but that doesn't mean anything. After a moment, you see a figure stepping in from behind one of the dividers. A human woman, probably in her late 20s, long straight black hair that she has tied back to keep out of her face. Slight of build, and probably only about maybe 5'2". She steps into the vicinity. Into the vicinity of the light that is kind of the main light that is lighting the immediate section that you find yourselves in. And as she does, you notice another distinguishing feature about her is that her right arm, from the elbow down, is completely technological. It is a cybernetic prosthesis. She looks over at all of you and kind of brushes a strand of hair back over her ear, and she says, "Well, it's about time." And she says, "Have a seat, I suppose." And she indicates the couch, which Zaya rushes towards and starts picking stuff up off of it and starts setting it on the table.
Nice to meet you too, Wire.
She looks sort of at all of you, and she says, "Is this it?"
We're not enough for you?
She says, "You're fine. I just expected there to be more."
There isn't any more.
She kind of glances at Zaya. She says, "Who crosses her arms at this point, and Bina, you can feel now
Yeah.
that like that. It's like you can feel this anger sort in Zaya starting to kind of bubble up, and she says, "Yeah, you said that there would be no. You said there wouldn't be any casualties. That everything would be fine." Wire crosses her arms at this point. She says, "What I said was that if everything goes according to plan, barring the unforeseen, there should be no above average risk."
Like a meteor storm.
She looks at you. She says, "Is that what happened?"
Yep.
Well, we were still asleep.
She shakes her head. She says, "Yeah, unforeseen like that." And Zaya shakes her head. You can see Zaya's now like visibly shaking. She says, "I can't believe it. I can't believe you did this to me again." She says, Wire looks at her and says, "This is not the time." Zaya steps aside and she just throws herself down on the couch and just crosses her arms and doesn't look at anybody.
It was a calculated risk, but I understand that, or I think I understand that it had to be done. I guess we're gonna get answers now. I'm gonna take off my coat because it's stuffy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna drape it over my arm and take off my. No, I'm gonna leave the hat on actually. And Mason's wearing a vest, Anyway, like a armor vest.
Do you have one of those armpit holsters that like detectives always have?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Can
Yeah.
I get a read on Wire? Just from we walk in, like, how has she reacted to this news?
You have felt precious little from her. She is another person who looks like she is used to like suppressing and controlling emotions.
Fair. I would
Can I
expect
just-
nothing less.
Could I do like a general like a insight check just with my intuition? No ability.
If you want, if you want, I can just make this an insight spend. We can do like a spend 3 points from your intellect pool, and I can give you a.
You got an edge, so it's 2.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and do that because I really want to get a read on this person because
Okay.
this is sus.
So, immediately kind of taking you throughout the course of your political career have managed to you've learned to be able to quickly assess individuals so as to better deal with them. Your training just sort of kicks in and you start immediately assessing this individual before you. She seems like somebody who is very determined, someone who you've encountered people like her before, and there's no better way to put it than to say that she seems like somebody on a mission. Your immediate read from her, just based on her body language, her tone of voice, the brief interaction that you've had with her so far, tells you that this is somebody who she is very businesslike. She has I wouldn't say that she's looking at you not necessarily coldly, but like she's definitely not treating you like objects or like pawns or anything like that. The sense that you get from her is that she is somebody who is used to making calculations. Somebody who, judging by the room that you're in, somebody who sees a lot and makes it her business to know things. Deeper than that though, you can sense just sort of like, just from brief, carefully concealed sort of micro expression kind of stuff. She was relieved when you all came in, when she first saw you, in spite of her words. And she was far more irritated by, and actually Bina, you would have sensed this too. She was far more irritated by Zaya's response to her than perhaps was warranted by the situation. So
Mostly wanted to judge if like she genuinely felt bad about the collateral damage or not. Like that's kind of what Peach was trying to gauge. Like,
yeah,
the most.
I would say that she seems disappointed by it, genuinely so, but
Okay.
as for the source of that disappointment, you're not sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so in response to what Mason said, she says, I mean, yeah, if you want answers, I've got a few. Mostly I just have questions that we all need to answer if you're interested.
How could we start with the answers, please? Maybe.
Yeah, we can do that. She says, so I'm going to take a wild guess here and just assume that all of you are wondering why all of this, what happened to you and why I intervened and all of that. So we'll start with the big picture stuff. By now you've probably figured out that Silverbreak Technologies is, well, specifically their genetics division is working on a few off-the-books sort of projects. Some of them that they find recruits through all kinds of different programs, some of which are programs for promising young academics. Some of them are help and support groups for people who are struggling with a variety of things, addictions, health issues, generally individuals that, to put it bluntly, wouldn't be missed. Not that I believe that, just they do, and that's enough to make them act. This program it's one that they are experimenting with for creating some sort of advanced soldiers, operatives, people who can operate in all sorts of circles and who have a bit of an edge on their side. I don't know if any of you have noticed any sort of manifestation of this yet, but you're all mostly successful products of that program.
And the other people in stasis on that ship, were they the same?
Every single one of them.
So you intercepted us before we could be used by Silverbreak. That was the goal.
Pretty much. I said you were mostly successful products, and what I mean by that is that you hadn't yet been put through conditioning.
Clearly.
So, yeah, I figured out where there was going to be a new shipment that was going to be sent to one of the conditioning institutions, and I wrote some code, had Zaya intercept it. But also it wasn't just about freeing you. Freeing you it's a small step, an important one, but it's not enough. How to put this? She points at some of the monitors behind her. She says, if you are connected like I am, and you pay attention to trends, to the chatter, the back alley chatter, you start noticing that there's movement that it's concerning, to say the least. There's something big coming, and everybody's preparing for it. All the major governments, all the corps, they're all preparing for it. But nobody's talking about it. It's all being kept very hushed. Whatever it is, I know it's centered around something that Silverbreak is doing. I don't know what yet. What I needed wasn't just to free the people that they had done this to, but also to make them see what the stakes were. I caught wind of what was going on Eos, that colony world that you were on. And, well, frankly, wasn't able to find anything concrete or conclusive. I needed somebody to see it. And more importantly, somebody who already had been wronged by Silverbreak and had cause. Essentially, I needed somebody not just to be offered a choice to act, but to also understand what it meant, what the stakes were. You don't have to have any part of this. Once we're done, we can part ways. Never talk to each other or about any of this ever again. You have that right. I'm not conscripting you. But after what you saw Silverbreak do, I would hope that you'd have some inclination to do something about it.
You know how to scrub a ship registry?
In my sleep.
Then I'm in.
I don't know about all of you, but my life has been completely turned upside down. Any direction is a direction. Well, point me in a direction, I'll go there, I guess. I can't go home. We step outside and we're not safe. I don't even know if we're safe right here.
Wire, when did Silverbreak take you?
Me?
No, Wire.
Oh.
She kind of gives you a look and kind of seems to... They didn't, actually. I used to work for them. That is, I was an analyst for them in cybersecurity. And I knew about the programs. I just always assumed they were voluntary. Until I knew they weren't.
What are they doing to people? What made us change?
Honestly, I don't know. I'm good, but there are some people they have working for them who are geniuses behind a keyboard, and those are the people they have in charge of hiding their worst secrets. Not only that, I'm just one person. There's only so much that I can do against an army of hackers and cybersecurity analysts. I can't be everywhere as much as I try. She glances around at some of the monitors where you can actually see, now that you're looking at them a little more closely, you can actually see that some of them are definitely security video feeds from other places.
I would expect nothing less.
Yeah.
Do I recognize any of those places?
Not specifically, but you definitely notice that one of them is absolutely a regulator ship.
Okay. Oh, man.
Is one of them the food court we were just at? We can see our food sitting on the table, cold.
You do actually see one display that is sort of flicking between a bunch of different places that are clearly on Sulon. But yeah.
Is there any with like the news feed up that has us listed as terrorists?
Yes.
I'm gonna point at it and say, what do we do about that?
She looks up, she says, yeah, I'm working on that. She says, it's a little... They kind of caught me off guard with that one. It's a little late for me to prevent it from going anywhere. It's already...
It's a good move. Honestly, smart.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have a good PR person.
Yeah. It's some of the hazards of going up against some of the most powerful organizations in the galaxy. But
Oh. The more hands, the better.
that's what I'm
All
hoping.
4.
No offense intended.
She says, "So, if you're in and you want to hear more than happy to. Otherwise, you know the way out."
Venus sits down cross-legged on the floor and puts all of her hands in her lap.
I'm not walking out that door without knowing more.
Yeah, Mason's sitting and yeah, I'm in.
I picture Mason
Yeah,
just sort of like settling in and just in answer, just notebook out and just ready.
Probably just like leaning against a wall. None of these surfaces are trustworthy for me to sit on.
Yeah. Everything's very cluttered in here, but underneath that it's not dirty or grimy or anything like that, but
Okay,
it is
good.
but it's mostly
Just
just
full.
cluttered.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yes.
Does Mason did that USB or whatever, that chip, did that get lifted from Mason? From the probe?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Darn.
Yes, it absolutely would
That
have.
makes sense though.
Yep. At this point, Wire is now. She pulls up a chair and just has now settled herself down in it and is looking at all of you. She seems, from before, you noticed that she was very guarded in her demeanor. Now, still is, but less so. Now she's kind of getting a little bit more animated and a little bit. Bina, now what you're sensing is just very, very faintly, just the slightest bit of relief. You can feel it just a
Okay.
little bit. She was
There's
fully
there's like the
expecting all of you to walk away.
She's got like that kernel of hope now. She's like, okay, things are happening. All right.
Yeah, you can kind of feel that. Yep. She says, "Okay, so, if we're gonna do this, then we need to know a little bit about what it is they did to all of you.
Yes, please.
We can't have you going out there without knowing what you're capable of. So, have any of you started manifesting?" So, for example, she gestures to Zaya, who is still not looking at anybody. She says, "Zaya over here has the ability to absorb kinetic energy and redistribute it in limited capacity. She's one of their earliest trials, and let's just say it didn't go completely smoothly. But
Does Zaya react at all when she says that?
no, not at all.
Okay.
Seems like it might be a familiar conversation, something they've talked about
Yeah,
before.
you can. I will say that anger that Zaya has been feeling hasn't gone away. It's just now more simmering than like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Blow out, boil over. Yeah.
Yeah.
How
I'm
many-
keeping some feelers out towards her, but not like with not an intention to intervene. Just like just curious about where she's at.
Oh, I was just gonna ask, how many Zayas have there been? How many folks have you rescued or
She shrugs.
tried
and
to rescue?
says, "Honestly, you were my first. After Zaya, you were my first attempt. Ever since our breach, they've tightened down their security on everything related to this project. You were the first one. Your ship was the first one I was able to get any sort of bead on. But by now, there could be dozens or there could be hundreds. I don't know.
How did you know to look for her,
To look for.
Zaya?
She was there when I was there. We escaped together."
are they sending other ships to Eos or any concentrated location? Are they building an army already?
There's nothing left on Eos.
As far as I'm aware, Eos was. That's the worst of it. What you saw on Eos, it wasn't a mistake. It wasn't an accident.
Sure didn't seem like it.
Says their incident with everything with the colonists there, that was staged. It was intentional. As far as I understand it, they've been digging up these artifacts all over the galaxy, in particular in some of the areas of space that have recently opened up, and they've been studying them, studying their effects. As what I was able to find is that the events on Eos were as a direct result of their need to test the effects of proximity to one of those artifacts.
We have colonists. Can you help them?
The what?
We have colonists.
Oh,
We got them off planet. Can we help them here?
you have some with you?
Not on my person, but yeah.
Well, no, obviously. I just didn't realize that anybody had survived from the original colony.
Only a few.
Well,
We try not to leave collateral damage.
there are 30-ish people back with our ship.
I mean,
The one that needs to be scrubbed.
I'm not sure what I can do, but I can maybe help some of those that want to disappear. I can help them do that. Can do the whole thing, new identities, all of that.
Whatever they want. I told them they could choose. We all did. We told them they could pick what they wanted to do.
You didn't let them go from the ship, did you?
I believe we told them specifically not to go anywhere, right?
Yeah, I think we told them to stay put.
Stay
right?
put, stay down.
Yeah.
I'm
She
pretty sure that was the command.
she lets out a sigh of relief and says, "Good."
They're just in the food court.
She's just they'll be just as much targets as you are. Well, maybe not quite as much, but they were witnesses too.
We were hoping that Silverbreak would that they're as good as dead to Silverbreak already, and that they would assume that none of them made it off.
It's likely, but if there's anything I know about Silverbreak, it's that they have their ways of finding information. But I'll do everything I can. Yes, of course. As for your ship, that's not a problem. I have some blank registries over there that I can write with whatever we want on them.
I think there's some tracking on it too. We dampened it as much as we could, but that needs out too.
Huh. Yeah, that'll definitely fool anything other than a specific scan, but yeah. Well, if you have other questions, now might be the time.
Well, what exactly are you thinking for where we go from here? Will you and Zaya come with us
No.
on this ship? And
No. If your faces may be plastered all over the news, but believe me, they want me more.
so what then? Are we to stay in contact with you? You give us leads, we travel there, or
For the most part, yes. We need information. First of all, we need to know what we're up against and what they're even doing.
You sent a message to us in text to the ship. Would you be able for long distances, would you be able to send messages for us undetected?
Yeah, I actually have. She points over to one of the desks nearby. She says, "I was actually working on a transmission masker over there that will scramble your signal and make it so that when we communicate, nobody will be able to trace it or listen in, for that matter."
Neat.
Actually, She looks at your arms now, and she says, "I can do the same to all of your terminals. In fact," she says,
Oh yeah.
"Are those silver break?
Yep.
Yeah.
Take them off."
okay.
Done and done.
Done and done.
Yep.
Yep. She takes them one at a time and like continues talking with you, but like has them in a moment, just has them completely open, like the panel completely open, is like messing around with them, isn't even really looking at you at them most of the time, just like looking at you and like working. And as she continues talking, she's tinkering with them, and you can see as she's disabling certain parts of their functionality. She says, "So, where we go from here is She kind of glances over at you, Mason. She says, "We follow leads. We follow the trail. Build a case."
That is exactly my line of work. That's how I got here.
Yeah, I actually watched that happen.
Yeah, they got the drop on me.
She nods. She says, "Actually, it's probably good that they did. You're the reason I was able to track down this particular ship. If I hadn't been watching when you got caught, I'm not sure I would have been able to find you in time."
Always a silver lining, huh?
Most times.
As for have we experienced any side effects or whatever you called it? I think we have. I know I have.
She closes the one that she's working on, hands it back to you.
Crushed a door
Yeah.
on accident. Well, I wanted it crushed and it was crushed.
Huh.
I feel a little bit smarter, I think. I remember things better.
She continues working and just kind of listening to you each as you start like, as you Olam recount the specific circumstances. She's just kind of listening, still working one by one, handing you each back your terminals. Huh. Interesting.
I saw a ghost, but I think that was unrelated.
That what?
I saw a ghost, but I think that was unrelated.
She tilts her head and just looks at you and says, "Yeah, that doesn't sound like... I mean, it's definitely weird, but not really the kind of thing we're looking at."
I know, I said it was unrelated.
She stands up and walks over towards one of the consoles and returns with what looks like a scanning device of the type that's often used for medical purposes, but it looks like it's been altered in some way. As she sort of takes it, and just starts passing it over each of you, just sort of taking readings. She says, "Well, I will say, you all have the genetic markers present of the alterations, the same ones that I found in Zaya and some others who were also altered this way. So at least that's confirmation of that. Anything more specific will require testing." She kind of glances over and she grabs just a piece of technology that looks like it's probably just been recently pulled from from a server, and she just sets it on the table and she says, "Can you crush that?"
I look at it and I cast Onslaught on it.
All right. Yeah. So you reach out and just sort of trying to remind yourself how you felt in the moment and like what you did. And as you do so, rather than crushing, you actually see as it just starts floating off the table, just sort of drifting almost as if it was weightless.
Cool.
She's watching it as it's floating past her. Even Zaya at this point has like pulled up from her sort of sulk and is watching intently.
At this moment, may I also start to float a little bit myself?
Yeah.
I have my eyes locked on the thing, and then I start to hover slowly up out of my chair.
You got taller.
with the, and I don't notice at first because I'm fixated on this thing. Then I'm like, whoa, okay, hey, okay, all right.
You start kind of doing that, like tilting sideways, sort of turning in
Yeah.
the air, just yeah.
And then I like maneuver off the couch, so I'm like standing with my feet just off the ground, and then drop down to my feet on the ground, and then back up, and I'm like floating a foot, and I'm like, this is new. Okay, all right. Okay.
You see as Wire reaches out and grabs the piece that was floating. She says, "Huh. Gravity manipulation. Interesting."
Oh.
She lets go of it and it continues floating. She just taps it and it just starts spinning off, spiraling away from her. She says, "Huh.
Drop back to the ground.
Interesting. What about the rest of you?"
Well, I've been still trying to figure mine out. There was one time I was losing strength initially when we were escaping the ship, and I almost lost grip on a ladder as we were climbing, but my hand became so much stronger. And then there was another time that I needed to move quickly, and I moved quickly.
Huh. Sounds like some form of hyperadaptivity. You should maybe try a few things out when you're next out in the field and see what happens.
Yeah, I could try something now.
Sure.
See if I can conduct. I want to like grab, a wire.
Mm-hmm. An exposed wire.
An exposed wire.
Okay.
And then I just want to. Yeah, I'm gonna. I'm just gonna touch Olem on the shoulder.
All right.
I'm just curious.
So as soon as you grab the wire, you immediately feel just like the shock, like the electrocution just run through you. You feel your muscles tightening as your entire body starts spasming, and you take 6 points of might damage.
Oh God.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And eventually you were able to like let go, but you feel yourself just sort of convulsing, and Wire's just sort of watching you. She goes, "That was incredibly stupid."
Yeah. Well, better in here than out in the field where there's.
As you're saying that, you look down at your hand, which is now sort of like charred and blackened, and you watch as it just sort of slowly starts regrowing, like the skin starts regrowing and regenerating over it.
Oh, well, there it is.
Whoa.
She just looks, just stares, and just... Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that's new for me too.
I start to reach towards the wire, but then don't.
Good. I was gonna say I take that part back. I totally would not.
Yep.
Peach is going to start thinking really hard about how delicious those the things that she was eating earlier. What were they? They were
Like a
What did we-
soft nut or something?
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
It was like a soft. Yeah, she's thinking about like the soft nuts and just like visualizing like how delicious it would be to taste. And then like as she starts to think about it, like an image of one starts to like appear.
Yeah. Just like one that like the whole like the basket, basically the same kind of basket that that the food had come in originally, just starts manifesting in front of Peach, and as it like you just barely manage to catch it as it fully manifests and starts falling.
Can I catch it, or does it like fall through my hands like and dissolve?
How does the
I think in this tier it wouldn't be solid.
Yeah,
like,
that's kind of what
I
I
think it
thought
would just
too.
be an image.
Yeah, so you like reflexively reach out to catch it, and it just falls through your hands, and then just hits the ground and disappears.
I guess I'm still kind of hungry. That's new, but
Interesting. It seems like some kind of maybe illusion based. I don't know. Have you noticed anything else strange?
if you want to take a quick nap, I could maybe root around in there and see what you did at Silver Break, see your childhood.
Pass. She says, she says, okay. Seems like you have some sort of affinity maybe for dreams and dreaming. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, people have told me I'm dreamy before.
She pointedly turns to Bina at that point. And
I don't bullied them.
you see Zaya, who's just kind of
Vina hasn't seen most people's powers manifest in any way except for Olim's at this point.
Yeah.
So she's like big saucer eyes. And then she kind of like, when she realizes attention is on her, she's like, I can do this. And she kind of like flexes her fingers a little bit, and there's like the natural bioluminescent that kind of peeks through like the orzai joints, and it's very, very faint. And she like crushes her hands together a little bit, and they glow very, very brightly. And she's like, pretty cool. And then she wipes it on like Olim's shirt, and then the glow stays there. And she's like,
so cool.
well, that's useful.
That's party trick.
Says, any other weird things, strange manifestations?
Just a ghost.
The ghost, again, I don't think was related. I can feel all of you a little bit more, but like... Yeah.
Well...
She has like no grasp of what
yeah.
she has absolutely no clue, because she could already like, Orzai already have some of these abilities,
Yeah.
but they're just louder, and so she's just like,
Wire shrugs and says, well, you've shown me one thing, and if there's one thing, then there's probably more that you haven't discovered yet. So we'll keep tabs on it and see how it develops. Some of these things, they develop slower than others in certain individuals. It's hard to say. It's a bit of a mixed bag. It's clearly not an exact science yet, but... Great. Well, I don't have a lot of room here, but you're welcome to stay for as long as you need to.
Is there the one bed?
There is, but you can actually see where there's like tucked under a table, like in the corner, there are like what look like bed rolls that were like rolled up and just stuffed under the table.
Like 6 people in a hotel room, like con style.
Yeah.
the weirdest con ever. Welcome to Sulon Con.
She wouldn't go to Sulon Con. Pre-registration opens next week.
Sulcon.
She says, well, we'll still have a little bit of time while I need to work on your ship's registry, and which I'll need some input for. You can't go around with a nameless ship. She says, so I'll need some input there from some of you, but in the meantime, I'll work on the coding for it, and then I'll also work on giving you a transmission scrambler for your ship. That way we can communicate without being eavesdropped on, and then we'll make a plan. She says, sound good to everyone?
Mason just closes his notebook. Yep, sounds good.
Zaya stands up. She says, yeah, sounds good. Looks like you've got more bodies to throw at your problem. And she just walks out of the room.
Man, bad breakup, huh?
Do you say that out loud?
I don't know. Should I, or is that too bad?
Yeah. I don't know.
I think Peach says it aloud. Like, I feel like she's kind of in a mood where she's like, she doesn't really trust Wire, and so she's kind of trying to like see what she'll do.
Yeah. You, Bina, as soon as Peach says that, you feel a sudden spike of irritation from Wire, and then it's quickly like there's a lid that gets put on it, and she just sort of
Bina looks at her and then looks down. It's like, That was an emotion I wasn't supposed to feel.
Yeah, and Wire just looks over at you, Peach, and just says, "Make yourself at home." And she walks the other direction.
God.
Well, I sure feel at home.
Basically, at this point, the
Sorry.
four of you left to your own devices, just in the sudden awkward vacuum that was left by these two women exiting from opposite ends of the room.
With with cameras footage covering the walls of all these like weird,
Yeah.
bizarre, hidden
God.
places. Yeah.
Codes
It's an
flipping through
awesome
things.
scene.
So, anybody got any cool ship names?
Sorry,
Oh.
pause for a second. Caitlin,
Yes.
I made a mistake telling you to turn your gain down.
Oh no.
You're suddenly very quiet.
No. Hold on.
Wait, Lucas, do you have any?
You can fix this.
Have you had any music that you had been wanting to
I
share?
haven't had any here, but
Just thought I'd remind you in case
Yeah.
Caitlin hadn't reminded you yet.
I about it, but you were like narrating, so I didn't bring it up. And then by the time you're done narrating, I forgot. So
fair enough. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just was
Sorry.
chat, let me know if I sound better. I'll pull chat back up.
I think you're a little louder.
Woo. Think we gotta name our ship.
The opposite of Silver Break.
Goldmend. I don't know. Shouldn't it be something unassuming? It's got to be
Yeah,
like
that's true.
the moldy orange or something. Something that won't. Well, that's I don't know. I've never named a ship.
It's hard. It is tough to name a ship. I say as Caitlin and also as Bina. Lucas got to listen to me agonize for a very long time.
My brother used to be really good at naming ships. We used to go down to where they would take off, and he would have a name for all of them. Do you think we could use the computers to try to contact people,
I
or
kind
just
of.
or just each other?
I would ask Wire. She would know how far the buffer goes.
I'm afraid that no matter what technological protections we have, if we contact anybody that we know, we might be inadvertently putting them in danger too. I'm sorry to say.
Yeah, I think so too. Ship names.
What do you think, Mason? You look like you've named a ship or two in your day.
Yep, I have. Actually, I have. But I think I'm drawing a blank right now.
There's a lot to think
I think
about
Freeman
here.
has an idea, but it's not a real one. It's just Silver Break spelled backwards.
You can write it out and figure out how to pronounce it.
Well, the opposite of silver on the periodic table of elements, if you want to go by swapping numbers, is tungsten. 74 instead of 47.
Wow, that's okay.
Funny name. I don't know if we want to base our ship name off Silver Break, but
Excuse me while I figure out how to say Silver Break backward.
I've been trying.
I'm sure
is
this is compelling
really-
content.
Yeah.
We could probably do this off stream, Jim, if you would like to move plot things
Mhm,
forward.
let's do
and
that.
we can say this is a scene that happens, and we will cut back to you next week on what actually was decided at the end of it.
Yep.
Perfect.
Yeah, this is gonna be a long brainstorming session. I can already tell.
I'll give you guys all the resources that I had to sit with while I was trying to name Bina, and then also all of the important things in her life. So
Yep.
Wow. Okay, what time of day is it? Sorry.
I
I don't know if it matters on an asteroid.
mean,
But-
not really. It's
my time
always
cycle.
there's a day cycle, but
Okay, so
at this point it's probably in like essentially what would be like the moving towards evening. So basically like the end of most people's day cycle. But yeah. basically figuring that about the time when you were picking up food would have been like a dinner rush, basically.
Okay. Cool. Well, I guess what what's set up for us here is just wait till Wire has all the stuff ready and then figure out how we get back to the ship without being caught or noticed.
What do you guys think of Wire and Zaya and those two?
Dina has
I-
made some conclusions, but feels they are not hers to share and will not.
I mean, I think Peach also could tell that immediately, but
I think Wire's the kind of person who obviously knows a lot and probably isn't telling us all that she knows.
yeah.
But
that's-
I don't see any other course of action than to do whatever she wants us to, I guess.
I feel like she would
Just-
if we asked her. I don't think she
I-
would withhold information.
I just think that she seems like she was a lot closer to these projects than she's leading us to believe.
Oh, I was under the impression that she was very close to these projects.
When she said she did cybersecurity at Silverbreak, it doesn't lead me to believe that she had a heavy hand in testing and plans, but her knowledge makes it seem like she did.
I mean, knowing how to get in the back door from a tech sense can give you quite a bit of information. Whether or not she had hands-on in the moment, but afterwards, it wouldn't be that hard for her to collect whatever information she needed.
Yeah, that's true. I just want to make sure that we're wary if we're dealing with a secret former hand of CEO or something of Silverbreak that we've never heard of, you know?
She seems determined. She has a mission.
Yeah.
And she's relieved that we wanted to help. So,
Yeah. I just think we should keep on our toes.
after the last 48 hours, for the rest of my life, yes.
I hover up off the ground so my toes are just brushing the carpet or whatever.
Oh my gosh. Olam wins.
Me next, me next.
Olam Infinite Horizon roll credits.
I'm never touching the ground again. Is that the Infinite Horizon?
I guess I enjoyed that brief bit of cardiac exercise. Oh, it's called cardio, right?
Cardiac
but now I
arrest
can hover
exercise.
everywhere.
Should we just have like is this the sleeping time? Did we just sleep?
What?
And then
No,
we'll go,
this is
right?
you guys have basically just been left to your own devices in this place. So
Can we just root around for clues?
yeah, if you want to
We
do
just
that, you
go through her
absolutely can.
stuff.
And can we tell, is this all like, does this look like cannibalized and mismatched, or is this all like nice,
No, it's
cohesive tech?
definitely scavenged a lot of it.
Okay.
Like it's completely mismatched. It looks absolutely like whatever it would have. Let's put it this way: it would have taken either a very long time or a monumental effort to get all of this stuff down here.
We had to walk down a lot of stairs, didn't we?
Yeah.
Our calves are burning.
But yeah, no, like right now, it looks like most of this stuff is definitely. Some of it looks like it's even from scavenged from ships and ship systems. A lot of it looks like old corporate tech that has been that's now obsolete but has been repurposed and revamped. And the kind of stuff that's like, oh, the old models are gone, time for the new models, and they're still good, but yeah.
Mhm. We have the budget to upgrade, so we will, and these are the ones that
Yeah,
are, yeah.
pretty much. Yeah. The one thing that your attention constantly comes back to, as much as all of you try not to, is the near constant on various news networks, the near constant presence of your faces next
Yeah.
to next to the statement that you have all been branded terrorists in a variety of not just in within corporate space, but also, as you're noting now, it looks to be in Commonwealth space as well as the Ascendancy.
Damn.
Dang.
Are there any like open terminals that have access to like the internet or a news network where I could like, presuming that because this is a safe house, I likely won't get tracked, like research about my school and the place where I was living?
Yeah, I mean you can try to do that. Yeah.
I guess, or is there social media? Is there a thing like that? I want to creep on my aunt and see if she's okay.
Yeah, Twitter exists. I feel that's the one
Yeah,
thing
is what I'm.
humanity
If there's
brought across the legacy ship.
oh god, yeah, Olive Garden and Twitter. If gosh dang it. So
The worst of our society.
That's what I want to do. I want to check on my aunt and her like gambling buddies, basically, or her old war buddies, and see if I can see if they're all right.
Okay. You start accessing the net basically and start. Huh?
Facebook.
No.
Nope.
That goes on the no list.
You start accessing the
John's
net.
already out of that probably.
You start doing some searches. You come across mostly like local postings from your home, and doing a quick search, you are seeing that like searching your aunt's name as well as some of her old her buddies from her old mercenary days. You're seeing that you actually come up with your face as well, but as a missing persons thing. It's a missing persons report. It's been plastered everywhere. It looks like she's enlisted some of her old like merc contacts even to like start helping look.
I just think to myself that I hope they don't find me now. Now that the falsified news has come out. Okay, I don't dig too far. I go and find like a quiet place and rest.
Okay. Yeah. Wire doesn't return. Sorry, what?
I was just gonna ask, does the news coverage like have any like information or like profiles, or is it just like our faces and like tell people if you see them? Like, does it have like more information?
It actually, one of the broadcasts that you have is a little bit more detailed.
Like, are they telling people who we are, or are they just like completely smearing us?
Yeah, no, they absolutely are. You can see like one report is even like speculating on like it's the kind of stuff that you would see like today if something like this were to happen, where like they start like speculating into the person's background and like saying, like with Olam talking about how he's like largely unconnected and sort of disaffected youth kind of thing, and like yeah, like doing that whole thing.
I want to know what they're saying about all of us.
Yeah. You know, like we turn up the volume just to yell at the TV, like.
Yeah.
Now, what kind of unwholesome man spends 10 years as an undergraduate? Something funny going on there to start, I'll tell you that, John.
Yeah.
Just like a panel of 6 people saying nothing of value.
Pretty much, yeah. That's basically what it is. Like, including the most damning of all of them is probably Mason Frey, because as you're looking at it, you're seeing his service record being pulled up, and like that they're talking about how he was dishonorably discharged from the regulators. Which he had transferred to of his own volition from the Ascendancy military, and yeah, like it was, and basically then ended up being dishonorably discharged and just sent adrift. And you can see where a bunch of people have like basically piled on and have started speculating about his motivations to doing this. Basically, somebody who has a history of causing trouble and that sort of thing. It's yeah.
It's at that point where Mason's watching that one. At that point where he pulls out a cigarette and just like lights it and just kind of studies it, and then I want to look at the regulators monitor. I want to see what they're up to.
Okay. You kind of glance at that one, and basically what you're looking at is it's just a single camera feed from one ship, and it looks like it's a signal that was hijacked from their own internal security. So what you're looking at is just sort of an seemingly inconsequential security camera on board whatever ship this is. However, the more you look at it, the more you start to recognize details and things like that, and you realize that based on your familiarity with ships, with the regulators' ships, that this camera feed is actually probably coming to you from not just any random corridor, but one that is the one specifically that runs outside of the bridge and the officers' briefing room. But right now, there's not much activity going on. Every once in a while, you'll see a uniformed individual pass by, but
That's it.
Tina super fixated on this like speculation news. She thinks it's kind of funny.
It's like good sci-fi.
yeah. After Wire doesn't come back for quite a long time. Actually, Zaya's the first one to return. She eventually comes. You can hear the footsteps coming down the stairs, and as you turn to look, she comes back in with several, the same kind of like the bags that like delivery people have that
Takeout, yeah.
like that basically like keep food warm, those kinds of things.
Space Uber Eats.
Yeah, she brings them over. She says, "Figured you might want some food," and she glances past you, noting Wire's absence, and opens it up. She says, "Also figured that I would be the only one to think about it," and she sets them on the table.
I love her. God.
This is weird. This is way more dangerous than we thought. I come hovering through a doorway when I smell food.
You'll never walk again.
Yeah, cartoonishly floating with my nose at the highest points,
Yep.
like levitating me. Yeah.
He's riding high, folks.
Zaya glances
He's
over. She's
tasted
pulling
power.
food out of the bag and setting boxes on the table. She says, "Getting the hang of the whole floating thing, I see."
Yeah, I figured it's good to practice before I actually need it. Also, I can't resist a good visual pun now and then. I go and look towards the food.
She chuckles and says, "Yeah, if I could fly,
Earth cartoon reference.
I would do it. I would do it all the time. I would never stop."
I don't think he will.
I will say to you, if I could survive bullets, I don't think I would seek that out all the time.
She shrugs. She says, the one is about what I can handle." She says, "Thing is, if I absorb too much, my brain goes into synaptic shock and I sort of collapse."
You found that out the hard way.
Yes, it was actually a truck.
Oh.
Yeah, I got
Ouch.
hit full force by a truck. Thought I could take it. I was mostly right.
Cool.
Well, we're glad you're here to tell the tale.
Me too. It was a good one, actually. Well, it's not that interesting, except for I already told you the
You have
fun
footage?
part. Huh?
Do you have footage?
No, I don't. Unfortunately.
Seems cool.
She says, "Well, let's put it this way. There was footage, but Wire scrubbed it all. So, security reasons and all that."
She might have a copy. Maybe we could watch.
She kind of glances around the room, says, "If I know her, she has backups for her backups, so."
Well, let's
And Bina reaches into the bag and pulls out food for herself immediately. Same thing. 2 arms holding and 2 arms eating.
Yeah.
She's a fast eater.
Zaya settles into the chair that Wire was sitting in before and pulls a box out and looks inside and says, "Yes." She just starts eating it. She says, "So, what did you all do before This.
Maintenance ships.
Student.
Nice. What about you?
Oh, I was private investigator.
So she kind of looks at you, looks over at the broadcast. Says, "I heard them talking. And it said you were a regulator."
I was.
Me too.
I had a feeling. I wasn't gonna assume anything, but
Yeah. No, you got the walk.
so do you.
Damn right I do. She shrugs. Says, "So what changed?"
I was following up a lead. Something higher up. It didn't sit well. I went through basic training just like everyone else, you know.
Oh.
But I went into the investigator field and started poking around places I shouldn't have been.
Yeah, they don't really like that.
I was so close, too.
So she says, "Let me guess. You got close. Somebody didn't like you poking around. They applied the pressure. Told you to back off, and then you didn't. You kept pushing, and then they enacted some consequences. How'd I do?"
Spot on.
"Yeah." Says, "Shit's fucked up." Says, "I left because, well, my term was up, but also, fuck them." She just keeps eating her food.
You're right.
Says, you know, I can't take too much away from the regulators. I mean, they're the only ones out there doing a damn bit of anything, but only ones who still care about the border worlds, about the people out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
At least they're trying to do something. Just wish they weren't so pig-headed about it.
And it was good training, too. You know, it sets you up for different jobs.
Yeah. Mainly of the punching variety.
Or taking one.
Yes.
That one I think you can do quite well.
Oh, yeah. Punches are no problem.
What did you train for specifically? What was your field?
I was one of the drop troopers. I'm one of those that they'd launch out of a ship in full environmental suit, drop us on an enemy ship, and then breach.
That makes sense. I can see that.
Oh, it was a lot of fun. There's something about the thrill of hurtling unaided through space towards another ship, where if you get the pressure from your thrusters just a little bit wrong, splat, like a bug. Either that or just hurtle off into the great nothingness.
Does Vina get feel like a familiar sense
Oh,
of like,
yes.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yes. Excellent.
Yeah, you get that familiar, like, almost like she's reliving it right there as she's talking about it. You get that familiar sense of that thrill, that adrenaline rush.
A kindred spirit, an adrenaline junkie.
Yep.
Sorry, I got an out of character question. Was my aunt in the regulators or a separate mercenary
Nope.
outfit?
She was part of a separate.
That's okay. Sorry, thank you.
Yeah. She,
Zaya.
huh?
No,
what were you saying?
I just say, you're using very different words to describe those experiences than I would have myself. The fun and thrill. I don't know. It all sounds pretty inches from death all the time type.
Yeah, it's great.
Again, different words.
So, what about you? She says to Peach.
Oh, I was a public servant.
Uh-huh.
I was trying to improve. It was a planet called Geoterra, pretty far away from here now. I was an elected official.
Did you ever take a bribe?
No.
I would have taken a bribe. Not sure what for. Just, I'd have taken it.
Just for the thrill of it.
Well, I'll definitely keep that in mind. In case we ever need it.
What can I say? It works on me.
Peach kind of just looks nervously at the TV after saying this.
She just she stretches and kind of in place and sets the now empty box of food on the table, and just kind of glances back towards the other room. She says, "So, she come out of her cave this whole time?"
No.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. Once she sets her mind to a task, there's no shaking her. Sometimes she forgets to eat, and I sometimes will just I used to leave food for her, just for when she came out of her whatever that is. It's kind of weird. Haven't been back here in a few years, actually.
How long?
I mostly operate in the field.
How long ago since your escape?
Oh, maybe. I say it'd have to be about 4 or 5 years. Yeah, 4. Well, it'll be 5 soon. Wire got me out of there. It was a confusing time. After I left the regulators, I just sort of bounced around a bit and got picked up. Promise of food and housing, that kind of stuff, and for some experimental program that one of the corps was running. And by that point, I was pretty desperate, so I just said, "Hell, why not?" And
You had the choice.
they were offering it to me, I think, because they knew I didn't really have one. I was in pretty bad shape.
I got like rucksack over the head tossed in the back of a ship, man. Jeez.
Yeah, I've seen a few of those too. Stopped a few of those myself, actually.
I signed up for a study, but I was not made aware that it would be anything like this. And we got drugged, knocked out.
Yeah. Near as we can tell, they take people from... Well, they try to assess people based on their various capabilities. Some of them physical, some of them mental.
They just didn't like me.
Yeah. Some people are just incidentals. Those are the... As far as we can tell, we know just from Wire's time working for them, they have 2 distinct categories of candidates. They've got those who are the most promising, and then they've got essentially the cannon fodder, the ones they can just test whatever on. Yeah, it's not great. These are some pretty bad people we're dealing with.
I had not even an inkling that Silver Break was like this bad. That I think you said it, Peach. Their PR department must be incredible. They're doing this stuff all over the place, and they're a household name. I was hoping to get a job working for them after this study. I know that's naive.
I mean, they probably pay off reporters. They probably pay off politicians. They pay off... I've never gotten a bribe from them, but they probably pay off everyone.
And they own everything.
And even if they don't pay people off, I mean, people's paychecks are all coming from them. They own so much of the universe.
Yeah, now you're starting to get it.
What can we do against people who not only have this kind of technology, but have the power to control what people believe, who people think we are?
She starts to shrug and answer, but you hear a voice from the other side of the room as Wire has sort of quietly crept back into the room, and you just hear her answer. She says, "We stand up. We tell them through our actions that enough is enough, and they can't just run roughshod over all of us. That eventually you push far enough, and the galaxy's people push back. It's the only thing we can do."
I guess I should be a little bit better at pushing stuff now, so...
That and show other people that they can push back too. It's not just us anymore. No, it's not just about us. She walks over to you, Bina, and just hands you a device. She says, "I finished the scrambler. That if you just install that into your ship's communications array, that should do the trick."
Okay. I have like a little pack all stuffed in there.
She looks over at Zaya and just says, "You're back." She says, "We've got a job." Wire nods and reaches down and grabs one of the boxes of food, opens it, and makes her way back to the other side of the room, back towards where she just came from, just sort of eating. Zaya's just watching her leave, and you can actually see Zaya. Where Wire is very good at keeping control of her emotions, Zaya's a completely open book. Like
Yep.
even her facial expressions hide
Yeah.
nothing. Like you can see that, like as she's watching Wire walk away, you can see like that just like sort of like that very like sad kind of almost kicked puppy look to her face, where she just looks like
Wistful.
yeah, just sort of which she then notices you looking and just says, so, any of you play cards?
A
Yes.
few times.
Yeah.
Awesome. She reaches in and pulls out a deck and starts dealing them out, and that's where we're gonna go to our break.
Yay! Ooh.
Yeah.
All right.
Sorry
So,
just for yelling into the microphone.
Yeah, sorry.
all right.
for folks.
Well, we will be back in about 10 minutes. We're a little late for our break, so we'll try to make this as fast as possible. But we will be right back. Don't go anywhere, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.
See you after the break.
See you soon.
Welcome back, everybody. We are back from our break. So, how's everybody feeling?
I just realized
Good.
we haven't made a roll all night.
That's true. We haven't.
Love a good
Oh, that's
roleplay
true.
game.
I
Roleplay
will
heavy
make a
games.
roll.
We can.
I didn't even notice until that moment.
I didn't until
Too
you
much
said
happening.
something.
All right. Well, when we left for break, the group had been successfully exposited to this nice
Oh, yeah, we
exposition
were.
dump. And there was a few conversations as they started to get to know their new allies, and conversation had over food. So when we left off, Zaya had broken out a pack of cards and a deck of cards, and she'd started dealing them out and started playing. I'd say a fair bit of time passes in this way, and eventually Wire does rejoin you all, but doesn't really is physically present, but she brings a terminal with her and is just sort of not like the wrist mounted kind, but the one of the more sort of portable, basically
Like a lab
tablet
terminal
size,
or
yeah.
something.
As she's working on it, bringing up the AR display and it's just working on it, not really paying attention to what's going on around, but is now at least physically present with the rest of you as she's going through it. At one point, she glances up and she says to you, Bina, she says, the comm stations in this room are all secured. So if you want to send any sort of communication to those on your ship, you're more than welcome to. Shouldn't be
she'll
traceable.
Slap down her cards and get up and go.
Mm-hmm. Okay. She continues working as Zaya and Mason just sort of playing cards, and anybody else who is also in on
I'd
it.
love it if Gina's bad at card games because she just doesn't. I mean, because she can feel the people around her. She can tell when they're excited about their hand. So she doesn't. So she purposefully doesn't learn the rules of games. So she's very bad.
Oh, she just doesn't want to cheat. Is
Yeah,
that the whole
because
thing? That's
she
so
does,
cute.
because she'll be cheating. There's different when she's playing with empaths, they would have a different type of game where that sort of thing wouldn't like matter you having, but like playing with a game where you have to have a poker face, she can feel your poker face. Like there's no, she can feel past it. So she's like, okay, I can be done with this now.
Yeah. Bina's cards immediately go onto the table as you just
like a winning hand.
You just,
I love that.
Yeah. You just like scatter off, and Zaya's like, wait, we're not even done. We're okay. She's gone. Okay.
I guess she folds.
Yeah, that's how they
we
work.
playing
Zaya
poker? Are
like
we
looks
playing-
over and says, "Huh, good thing too," and she just goes back.
She had a flush.
Bina, you make your way over to the console and just start. Yeah. Do you contact the ship?
Yes.
Okay.
I essentially don't let Bina do this shit. Bullet points. We're okay. Bad things happened. Reiterate that we are okay. And then let them know that we found someone who can probably help them, and to stay put as much as possible because there are people out here who are putting us in danger. Stay put.
Okay.
And that's the message.
Yeah.
In like scattered bullet point messages. Or how my mom texts, which is like multiple messages over and
you're
over.
sending
and
it.
the same
You're
thought.
sending just like a text message, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. You get a response. Just a single word response. Acknowledged.
Efficient. Okay. All right.
Concise.
She's gonna go fish out some snacks from the food bag and join everyone again, but not continue playing.
Yeah.
I think she has more fun watching other people play games than like actually playing herself.
You like do the thing where like when you get out in games and you go and help everyone else, like you're like going around.
She'll
sitting
like,
around and-
she would like go around just to kind of like see what people have in their hands and why they're excited or not excited about it. Like,
Mason just like, mm-mm.
and she like she already knows how you feel about your hands, so she won't like.
Damn,
Olam
there's
has
nothing I can
probably
do about
played this
that.
game
Huh?
like once in his life, but he's made sure to memorize the rules, like in case he gets invited to play again. And
Does Owen like count cards? Is he like that smart?
he's trying, but he's probably
Okay.
not that good at it.
Okay.
I feel like Zaya and like man, I just feel like the two people that have military backgrounds are in way like they're gonna kick our ass. Like
Yeah, they're definitely probably taking it more seriously than Olam too.
Yeah. Like at this point, I would say that between Mason and Zaya, there are considerably more wins on that side of the table than there are on between anybody else. But yeah, you just sort of keep playing it. Every once in a while, punctuated by Zaya just saying, "It's a good thing we're not playing for credits, because you'd all be broke and owing me lots." It just keeps like.
It is good.
And
Bina like snorts because she knows that someone else was way more excited than she was about her hand.
So many times we'd be on the ship and there'd be nothing to do, just waiting for the shift to change. This is what we do.
oh god, those in between waiting periods were the worst.
Or when they would just give us make work and we'd just play cards, like, someone else will do that.
Yeah, no, it's pretty much none of us got out of bed unless we were certain there was going to be a gun in our hands. So, on at least in my regiment anyway.
That's aces.
Damn it.
Olam, are you a little bit alarmed by their propensity for violence, just casually, or is that just myself?
Me?
Are you just about our friends at the table here?
Are you asking me in character?
Yes,
or-
yeah, in
Okay,
character
yeah,
while we're all
good,
playing,
sorry,
just like
sorry.
friendly conversation.
Are our new friends making you
I-
nervous?
I'd started to just kind of phase it out as I hear it, but yes, well, kind of. My I kind of glanced to Olam Mason and Zaya as I say this. I don't mean to say anything disrespectful about the regulators, but my aunt was in an independent mercenary unit, and she and her friends from back in the day remind me of. Share some similarities with you all. I know it's different. It's different. But I've been around people who talk like this.
It's like you're right at home.
Zaya just shakes her head. She
Yeah.
says, "You're damn right we're different than mercenaries. Mercenaries, they They don't do anything unless they're getting paid for it. The regulators, well, we're privately funded, which means that we're cops with a cause, basically. We try to bring some order to the border worlds. It's a mess out there. Let me tell you, it's a lot of infighting, warring, and people getting caught in the crosshairs, in the crossfire between them.
They usually do.
Hmm.
I just said they usually do.
She nods. Yeah, you see some ugly shit out there. But you see ugly shit everywhere. Point is, mercenaries don't get paid to care about any of that. They get paid to do a job and to do it efficiently.
I think some might take pride just in that.
Maybe they do. Wire looks up finally from her terminal and she says, "Okay, I have this. The registry's set up. All you need to do is, I left the input for a ship's name blank. All you need to do is put it in yourself when you need to. Otherwise, they're good to go."
Excellent.
Thank you. It's probably
We
a
have a
lot of
ship?
work.
Not really. It's pretty easy for me actually. It's one of the, if you know what you're doing, it's a pretty routine task actually. I'm surprised that more people don't do it, but I will say, if you get a chance, when you remove the old registries, just keep them secured somewhere, and then bring them by me when next time you're around. I might have use for them.
Does Bina have any concept of what she's talking about as far as this part from here? Can Bina do this?
Oh, not from here, but like you.
No, I mean like from this point in the
Oh,
instructions.
yeah,
Once
yeah,
we're
yeah,
on
yeah.
the ship, she can do this.
Now
Okay.
it's more of a mechanical installation, and then just sort of like
Excellent.
after that, it's just sort of like prompting through like
Okay.
setup basically.
OS reinstall. Like.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. I feel like Bina and Wire would be is too much technological power between the two of them. They have a whole the
Yep.
whole thing.
Yeah.
Between them, they can fix old cars and new cars.
Wire just says, "I don't have anything specific for you to look into right now. For now, I would say the important thing is for you to just stay off the grid as much as possible. Although there is one thing, and that is, if you're up to it, there might be... Look, this whole thing isn't just about... It's not just about Silverbreak, and it's not just about the governments and the corps and all of that. There's something happening there, but the problem is major powerful entities will always scheme and work towards their own ends and whatever. I'm more concerned with the people who get caught in the middle." She kind of glances to Zaya and Mason. She says, "There's a lot of people that they just need help out there, and nobody's giving it to them. It's just, there's not really anything that we can do about your image right now except for working against it. There's ways that you can help people out without getting too much in the spotlight, and that might be something that you need to that you should do, but that's up to you. I'm not going to tell you how to do any of this. I barely know how to do any of this. The point is that people need to know that there's somebody on their side."
So we'll stick to the shadows when we need to, and if we can, we'll step out somebody's in trouble, let them see who we really are, then back to the
No.
shadows.
No, that's not what I'm suggesting at all.
Hmm?
No, as far as I'm concerned, you shouldn't show your faces anywhere. Just help where you can, quickly and quietly. As long as they know that somebody's on their side, they don't need to know who. It's too much of a risk. And right now, as much as I hate to say it, you represent the best chance we have of actually getting anything done.
Got a jumping off point?
You might try starting by looking into, well, that cryogenic freezing technology that they use to transport you. That had to come from somewhere. Say maybe start looking there. Also, I have a bead on some research institute that's working on unaffiliated. They're working on mostly unpacking some of the mysteries of the ancient galaxy, those who came before us. And while most of the time I think they have their eyes pointed in the wrong direction, there's a chance that they might have found something that coincides with whatever Silverbreak's looking into. Might be worth a look in. I can send you the details on them.
So, to circle back to something that you said earlier, you think that Silverbreak, in all of these companies, you've noticed a shift, that they're preparing for something, and so do you think this? So, do you have any idea? You have no idea of what that thing is, or what it could be? Is it like another legacy ship? Is it with enemies? Like it could be anything.
I have my suspicions, but very little evidence to back any of it up.
Even your suspicions would probably help us out.
Or they could incline you towards one way of viewing the problem.
That's a possibility.
Silverbreak has to know something that they're not sharing with folks, otherwise they wouldn't be mobilizing so extremely. So the knowledge is out there. We just need to figure out how to access
What
it.
I know about Silverbreak is, and what they're doing, is that they're not making people like you for themselves. They're selling them.
Oh God.
At least I know that's their plan.
They're weapon contractors?
Yeah. When I say that they're preparing, that there's lots of movement taking place, I'm saying that somebody somewhere knows something about what's coming down the line. And the only reason that I can see there being a corporation scrambling to be at the forefront of the arms race is that somebody's anticipating a big fight coming on.
That's what I feared.
Now, I don't know what that's going to be or what's going to cause it, but I know that everybody from the aggregate corporations union to the lowliest tyrant on one of the border worlds, they know it's coming. They know something is coming at least, and they're all preparing. They see everybody else arming up, and they're quick to rush into the race. Somebody somewhere has to have some answers, but so far, everybody's playing their cards very close.
I look down at the cards on the table where my losing hand is.
Yeah. So to answer your question, I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's coming. But my best guess is that the best case scenario, reopening hostilities or maybe even some corporate warfare. Worst case scenario, galaxy-wide war.
World
Well-
question, because I don't remember how long has it been since the last like large scale conflict like that,
Large scale,
like in like galactic scale.
yeah. That probably the last like large scale war was probably, it ended just shortly after humans arriving in the galaxy. A series of events that led to a cessation of hostilities that has lasted for the most part to present day, with conflicts, minor conflicts breaking out here and there, but nothing major. Certainly not to the level that you're talking about now.
So that was about 1,300 years ago or less.
Yeah, a little less than that.
That was when they were fighting over conduits still, right?
Yeah, specifically they were fighting over the prime conduit that they had discovered.
Mhm. That was then destroyed?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. The human fleet, upon entering the galaxy, immediately turned their weapons on the prime conduit and destroyed it behind them.
Yes.
Oops.
They were being followed, right? They thought they were being chased. I don't remember what history said. I don't remember
Yeah,
what the
I mean-
general history is.
That's the thing. Like, human history is one that has them essentially escaping from their own galaxy, fearing pursuit by whatever drove them out. Generations aboard their legacy ships sort of lost a lot of that information. The only thing that really survived their transit was the mandate to, wherever their exit point was, to destroy it behind them.
Wow.
So they
Cool.
came in the middle of this galactic war and then killed the thing that the war was over.
Yeah, basically.
Power move. Fucking power move.
Humans like to just stir the pot.
Yeah, they do.
Show up, make a mess, move forward.
Wire says, so, it's up to you to determine your course now, and if I come up with anything more specific that I'd like you to look into, then I'll send it your way. For now, I
Well-
think the best thing that you can do is just stay off the radar.
Well, I'd like to scrub our ship as soon as possible, so we're less likely to be picked up and noticed.
Yeah, good call. You,
And
I didn't find any record of your ship landing anywhere on this in Sulon. I assume you, great. Good. At least you've got some survival instincts. That's good. That'll keep you alive.
probably shouldn't stay for long. The person I've deal is a wrong word. Come to an agreement with would squeal like a pig if he felt he was being threatened at all. But we're okay for the moment, so it should be moved as soon as possible.
Yeah, I agree.
We're in a 2-hour parking zone. We gotta go.
I just got my ship, and I don't want to get it towed, and
Literally.
I have some repairs I need to make. We can't FTL efficiently in the state that it's in. We got hit on our way away from Neos by the biggest laser I've ever seen in my life.
Zaya leans,
So that
Zaya
might take
leans
some
forward,
time.
and she says, "Your ship survived a blast from a laser from a capital ship."
I'm a very good pilot.
Well, you might just survive this after all.
I intend to.
And if we didn't mention it, Damian Ellis was on that ship.
The two of them exchange a glance.
Yeah, that was important that I forgot about.
Yeah, the two of them exchange a glance, and Wire nods. She says, not entirely surprised. He's a bit of a wild card as far as the corporations are concerned. I mean, he was pretty boring up until about maybe about 6 years ago, or 6 or 7 years ago. All of a sudden, he started. I mean, for a long time, he was your standard tech boy billionaire with more money than sense, and all of a sudden, he started taking Silverbreak in a very different direction and buying up a bunch of pharmaceutical companies and genetics labs, and took a particular interest in some of these like ancient artifacts from prior civilizations and those sorts of things. I don't know, just all of a sudden just changed and did a solid 180, became obsessed, and now he's pretty disconnected from most of the operations of Silverbreak, except for the ones that directly pertain to his interests. So,
Which is apparently glassing an entire the word is not in my brain, community off the face of a planet that he put there.
yeah, well, that
You
is...
did mention that to them, right? That they destroyed the entire
Yeah.
colony. That's the word I was missing.
Yeah.
Colony.
There it is.
She says, you would be surprised to find how many colonies just mysteriously go silent. Some of it's due to accidents, some of it's due to problems with the terraforming.
Some experiments.
Well, you'd be surprised how many of those accidents are actually, well, more like what you witnessed.
Accidents. Four air quotes.
Anyway, you're right. If you're gonna stay ahead of this, then you should probably get moving as soon as possible.
What should
For
we tell the survivors? Where should we send them? How can you help them?
Actually, she looks at Zaya and she says, "The old warehouses," and Zaya nods. She says, "We can send them. We have a safe location for the time being, where I can reach them and talk to them and see what I can do about helping them to disappear if they want."
Okay.
And Zaya will come with you and help them get to where they're going, to get to the safe zone, and we'll go from there.
Do you have anything to like cut masks, disguises, cloaks? I have a hood, but it's very small.
Yeah, I've got something it'll work. You don't want to use it more than once, because once you do, it'll help you get back to your ship at least. But once you do, if you try to use it again, your demonstration earlier is, yeah. But essentially, they're just image scrubbers. They'll make it difficult for any sort of surveillance to positively ID you or really to pick you up at all. So I've got a few left over, but like I said, one use. After that, use at your own risk.
Noted.
She excuses herself to collect them, and Zaya leans forward. She says, "So, I think I'm gonna come with you at least for some of the way." She says, "I've got a few people I need to reach out to, and other cells, kind of like our operation here, and or Wire's operation here, and have a few people I need to contact. A couple of them haven't heard back from for a while, so I'm going to hitch a ride with you if that's all right.
Of course.
Yeah, I think that would be great. Great, right?
Great. So while you're doing your repairs, I'll help your colony survivors, and then I'll meet you back at your ship.
Perfect.
Great. At this point, Wire comes back in the room, and Peach, as you're the closest to her, she just hands you a small box that contains a few basically small devices. What they look like is essentially like a little computer chip that is on a patch, like an adhesive patch. She says, just for best effect, just apply it just under the jawline. She says, it won't mask you entirely from surveillance, but it will make it damn hard for surveillance to get any sort of clear picture on any of you. So
You have enough.
And she's suggesting we use them on our way to the ship right now.
basically, yeah.
Was her? Okay, excellent, cool. Just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, I've got just enough for you with a couple extras for me.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, you should probably get going as soon as possible. If you need anything, I've programmed my frequency into your transmitter.
Excellent.
Good luck.
You too.
Stay safe down here.
I always do.
Call us if you need us.
Call me, beat me. No, just kidding.
I wasn't gonna sing it, but I'm glad you did. We don't want to get copyrighted, you know.
Listen, we
Yeah, my
already
rendition will be
get
great.
muted for our legitimately licensed intro piece.
Yeah, we
so
have the license for that.
we do. So anyway,
We go.
yeah, Zaya's
Slap
like,
that bad boy on and
all right.
put up for good measure.
Yeah.
Beep beep.
You all start making your way out. Zaya just sort of like letting you all go ahead, and she turns back to Wire and she says, "See you when I see you." Wire just nods, just, "I guess you will." There's just this moment of like tense silence between them as they just sort of stare at each other, and then Zaya just turns and starts following you, almost running into whoever's in the back. I don't know who that would be, but
I was watching that.
okay, so like almost running into Bina, or really
Yeah,
running
she was,
over
pretend
Bina.
she
but-
wasn't looking and turns.
Yep.
I think Bina gets like enraptured by strong emotions, so like she would probably was like,
She just
"Oh,
knew.
she's coming. Okay, we're going."
Yeah. No, you felt a whole like there wasn't much that happened between them just then, but there was a whole mess of complex emotions that you just felt.
Yep.
Most of them varying forms of irritation and anger.
Yep.
Most like not like boiling anger like immediate, but like long held anger. That the kind that has cooled over time, but still there.
It's kind of like their like bases of interaction at this point always kind of has that underlying
Yeah, you're starting to
Stagnant.
get that. Yes.
residual emotion. Yeah, cool.
Yeah. You turn to leave, and Zaya just right behind you. Before long, you find yourself back on the streets, wending your way through the alleyways, and as you're making your way back towards the industrial district, Zaya kind of glances sidelong at you, Bina. She says, "Sorry about that."
I'm used to it.
I know. I have some Orzai friends, and I always forget. It's hard to remember to, keep it kind of down, and I'm not very good at it. So
That's okay. I mean, I've not been around empaths in a very long time, regularly.
yeah.
Yeah, so I'm used to it. It's okay. That's very conscientious of you to think about it. But I don't mean to eavesdrop. It's just kind of a thing that I can't
No, yeah, no, you can't help it.
not.
I know
See?
that.
Same page.
Anyway, sorry. It's just there's a lot of a lot of history there and a lot of baggage. Really, that's.
Believe me, I could feel it.
Yeah, I guess you could. Yeah.
She just kind of like laughs about it and then like will continue to walk forward as to kind of convey, it's okay, you don't have to talk about it if you don't want to. I'm not going to pry. Please don't feel compelled to explain yourself.
Yeah.
This happens a lot.
Yeah, there's
Okay.
just sort of this like, for a moment, just sort of awkward silence, but you can kind of feel her relief as it seems, as like she becomes aware that you're not, not that you're not curious, but that you're not pushing, you're not like prying or anything like that. You just feel that as she sort of like
I mean,
straightens up.
she probably feels a little bit of my amusement,
Mm-hmm.
like just like, but like yeah, she probably there wouldn't obviously being as like curious, but that's not. She's very much like, this happens to me a lot. You couldn't help feeling the way you felt. I couldn't help feeling it. We're on the same page. Let's move forward. I can tell you don't want to talk about it. We're good. So
Yeah.
I think they're
Yeah. So you make your way back to the platform where your ship is, activating the boarding ramp. As the boarding ramp lowers, you are immediately greeted by two individuals. One is Coleman,
okay.
the
Our individuals.
the Enzalonian quartermaster from the colony, who is just sort of seated about where Olim was when you were escaping the colony, just sort of at the top of the ramp. And
Keep an eye
right
out.
next to her, you see Jade just sitting there with like his knees kind of curled up to his chin. And the two of them are talking, or seem to have been in conversation as they both look back to you. And like as the ramp is going down, and they both wave, and Jade like he extends his legs and stands up quickly, and he says, "Hey, I'm glad you're back. I finished the diagnostics. I finished the scanning, and there's some weird stuff in there.
Oh, I can't wait to see.
Yeah, it's. Do you want to go now? Wait, you're probably busy.
We have so many repairs to make. Let's go now.
Okay.
Actually, pit stop in the bridge and then to the engine room. She wants to get this registry swapped out immediately because the longer this ship is registered to Silverbrig, the more danger we're in. So that needs to happen right now. If anyone wants to talk to any colonists, you guys can do that. Doing this right now immediately.
Yeah, he goes, wait, are you gonna install a new registry? He says, did you get one?
she's gonna say, let's go break the law. And then he's gonna start
Ooh.
going.
It's like, that's so illegal. He's like, I haven't seen the bridge. Can I see it?
She was inviting him along, yeah.
Oh yeah, he's like, okay, great. He kind of like glances back to the rest of you and is like, oh, hi, and then just follows Bina. Peach, as you're watching him go, he's a lot older than he was in the dream that you saw him, but you recognize the little boy from the dream.
I was wondering if it was one of the colonists. Okay.
Yeah.
Mental note. Not gonna say anything because that'd be weird.
Yeah. He's significantly older, probably 12 to 10 years older than he was when you saw the dream, but yeah. It's definitely him. As Bina and Jade make their way back towards the cockpit, Coleman turns to the rest of you. She says, so, what's the... we caught some of the news broadcast and we were worried, but it seems like you all made out okay? Oh, hi. And Zaya just said, hi, I'm the help.
Zaya's gonna help you all find your way out of here, or to whatever you want here. We found some people who are on the same side as us.
Well, that's a relief, because I'm not entirely sure what that side is yet, so it'd be nice to meet somebody who can tell me.
Well, don't get your hopes up. It's complicated.
I really wasn't expecting anything less, so...
we're the good guys.
From everything I've
That's
seen,
true.
yeah. Let's get up.
So far.
Let's sorry, I'm just not comfortable having this open for too long. Let's get back inside.
Oh yeah, no, Bina would have closed it immediately.
Oh
when
yeah,
we got her.
yeah. We would not have left that shit open.
All right. Yeah, so you make your way back inside. to where she's just kind of chattering, giving you basic status updates as to how the colonists have been doing in the last few hours. Mostly people just being restless and anxiously looking to what comes next. But
Is there like an old movie we could have put on, like on the ship's reel, that we could show the colonists while we were gone? Like,
yeah, unfortunately not.
entertainment.
There's the supplies were pretty spare.
It's an old human classic called Shrek 12. Just kidding.
It's got like Avatar level animation. Like it's like
It's in VR. No, anyway,
Really good looking ogre.
in 4D. The most unpleasant film experience.
this is
Okay, so sorry. In serious, I want to keep my eyes out, like looking out as we came in and like looking out ports if I can for the Lumnian, the Bina's contact. If he's, I don't expect him to be on the ship, but I want to see if he's around because I'm afraid that if he sees the news, he might change his opinion of us and his
Okay.
and all that.
Everest
Yeah,
was his name.
as
Should
you
we move the ship?
yeah
I
you
need it. I need to fix FTL when you have to be here.
Gotta fix it.
you glance around.
Right.
There's the platform is empty aside from the workers, the few workers that you see, as well as some of the lifting droids that basically are moving some of the heavier payloads from the shipments. Nobody seems to be paying you any attention whatsoever. This seems like the kind of place where nobody sees anything unless they are paid to do so.
Good.
I paid my XP. I made a contact.
Yeah. You eventually you come back to where Decker and several of the other colonists are, and you sort of just give him a brief overview of the situation. As he nods and says, "Okay, so this wire person is going to help us. What exactly?"
Disappear if you want.
I'm not there. Sorry.
Yeah.
I hear Vina's voice in my head.
I'll talk to some of the others and see. Yeah.
Decker, I know that probably all you want to do is go home. But I think that if you all go home, you'll have people after you. I mean, Silverbreak has disappeared. Colony after colony, and we haven't heard of it. You're not safe.
Yeah. No, I suspected as much, but try telling some of these people who've been through a traumatic experience and all they want to do is they want to go home and be with their families.
And that's what they're counting on.
Yeah. I'll do my best.
Do you want me to go with you? Maybe I can help talk to them and reassure them.
That might actually help. I think they might be tired of hearing me talk and telling them about the dangers that they face now in this new world where we inhabit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take whatever help I can get.
Great. And I'm just trying to kind of soothe them a little bit and just kind of go on with them. I just feel so bad for this guy.
Yeah. Zaya watches them go and turns to you, Olim. She goes, "Wow, you've looks like you've had your hands full."
Yeah. As much as I wasn't meant for this kind of action, this kind of chaos, these colonists, they shouldn't be here. They didn't sign up for anything like this, so they're out of their depth.
Yeah. Well, if for whatever it's worth, I'm sure Wire's good at what she does. She can get them relocated and new identities if they need it. I mean, I don't want to make any promises on her behalf, but I bet she could even get to some of their families, maybe, depending on where they are.
All I feel strongly about is that the longer they spend around us, the more danger they're in.
Ain't that always the way?
Well, no, for me it's actually incredibly new. I've never been a locus of danger before in my life.
Right. Sorry
Oh, that was directed at him.
No, I mean, it was at all of you. I just, sometimes I forget that not everybody has lived the same kind of life that I have, so I'm not used to dealing with, do you have anything to drink on the ship?
I'm just gonna
I turned to Mason again.
right this way.
She nods, and Coleman nods. She says, "Actually, I did get a few things while you were out, so."
Thank you very much.
She says, "Oh, believe me,
I'm
I
sure
needed it as much
Coleman
as
got all
anybody."
went shopping for us.
Yeah. Yep.
Didn't really have time to grab the things I needed, while with running away from threat.
She said, "Don't worry, I needed a drink, and I figured the same was probably true of everybody else, so I have you covered." Zaya says,
Oh,
"What was your name again? I think I like you." As they all kind of make their way towards the ship's galley.
Yeah, we could keep Coleman around.
Meanwhile, Bina, you're up in the cockpit
Bridge.
with Jade as he's holding a light for you as you're like up underneath the console.
Yes.
And he's just sort of looking as like he's holding the light, but every once in a while it drifts because he's like looking at everything in here. And so he's just kind of
I'll
like,
give you a tour afterwards. Hold the light.
"Oh,
hold the
sorry,
light."
sorry. I just
She could be lighting it herself, but she wants Jade to have to help out with this.
yeah." And he says, "I've just never been in a ship's cockpit before. This is really whoa."
It's pretty, right?
Yeah.
I'll show you everything. But this is first.
Okay.
So I want this. We gotta do Scrambler, and we have to do registry scrub.
Yeah, most of the stuff isn't like role required, so it's just like you and him just working
Attaching.
together, him holding stuff for you as you just pull stuff out and just like, "Here, hold that," and he just takes it. Yeah, it takes you probably maybe about 20 minutes to get them both installed. And
I click on the skip this step to add the ship's name because we'll come back to that.
yeah,
Remind me later.
Remind me later, yeah.
yeah, it pops
Update
up
in
with
24 hours.
It pops up with a warning saying, basically like, warning, most ports require proper ship identification before departure it will be authorized.
Yeah, we'll get to it. We're not going anywhere yet. And she scrambling.
Yeah. After a sec, the two of you finish and just sort of sit in a couple of the passenger seats, looking at your handiwork, and sort of, he's kind of like sitting in the chair, sort of fidgeting in it a little bit, just kind of looking around.
Want to sit in the pilot seat?
Huh?
Do you want to sit in the pilot seat?
Yeah.
Let's go. Okay. And Vina will sit in the co-pilot seat and let Jade check out the pilot seat.
Yeah. You sit there kind of going over some of the stuff with him for a bit, and he finally
I think they take turns like sitting in every station on the bridge, which it's not that big, but like
right.
they do it. We do it anyway.
Yeah.
This is so wholesome.
At a certain point, you kind
so
of
much.
you finish kind of showing him around, as you both sort of sink into your seats. Him now in the co-pilot's chair, you back in kind of the pilot's seat. He's just sort of looking up through the ship's canopy, just kind of looking up. Says, "So I heard some people saying that when you came back, they'd find some way of helping us get home or something."
Well, we have some people who are going to help you guys. To what extent, I don't really know. But it's not looking great. I'm going to be honest. It's a little scary. there's a lot of people who we're all kind of in a little bit of danger. But we're going to try to get you in a spot where you're in less of that. And that I at least can promise you. We're going to help everyone do whatever they want to do, but we're giving you options. So you get to choose what you want to try to do, but after that we can't help you much.
Well, if they're not sending us home, where are they going to send us?
Wherever you want to go.
Can I stay here?
You want to stay here?
I don't know. I just I mean, I like ships, and I like this ship. And I don't know, I have fun working on the ship with you, so
We'll see. I'll see what I can do.
okay.
We'll ask some people. We'll check it out.
Yeah. I mean, if I could go home, I guess I would go see my dad. But he's always really busy, and probably he'd probably just send me back to school. And I mean, that's fine, but I don't know. I don't really know how I'd go back to that after all of this. I feel like he'd just want me to
I
be...
can understand that.
He'd just want me to, like... He'd want everything to go back to normal. And I'm not really sure that I know how to do that.
I don't think anything can go back to normal after this.
Yeah, exactly. And, I mean... It's like, if I went home, which I know I'm not going, but... He'd expect me to be me, like from before, but I'm not really, because I mean, I even before all the bad stuff happened, I mean, I grew up. The last time he saw me was on my 15th birthday, so I don't know, he'd expect me to be that person, and I'm not. And
you've compounded a lot of experiences since then.
Yeah.
They're all grown up.
And if I went, I don't want to go to some random place with random people I don't know and just, I don't know, sit in a safe house or wherever they're going to send us.
It might be more dangerous sticking with us, though. Just so you know.
Maybe. But at least I could help you.
I'll see what we can do.
Okay. What's that button do?
Oh, she presses it and it it changes the lights of the color of the lights in the cabin.
All right. We'll cut back over to Peach and Decker. As basically Decker's just finishing up explaining the situation to everybody, who have all basically gathered now on the observation deck, and he's sort of finished breaking down the situation for them, and he says, so basically the way it looks right now is that we're not going to be able to. It's not going to be safe for us or our family members for us to return home. One person towards the back, he speaks up. He says, and you recognize Brewer, who speaks up. He says, so what? That's it? They were just gonna get shipped off to some somewhere underground, just change everything about ourselves and disappear? And what are our families supposed to think? They probably already think we're dead. Decker says, look, I'm not a big fan of it either. Listen, it's just the reality of our situation right now. You can hear like sort of like the mumbling and like grumbling as people are like talking to each other. Peach as an accomplished
Yeah.
speaker,
Mhm.
you can, like public speaker and diplomat, you can tell that he's losing control of the situation.
Yeah,
It does.
I wanted to let him finish saying what he was gonna say before I jumped in.
Yeah.
But if people start to look uneasy, I'm gonna try and kind of get their attention and yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty much where they're at right now. Like he's looking around. He probably hasn't noticed it yet because it's not like a mob or anything like that.
But I can tell that they're not happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The trajectory of the mood of the crowd is not in his favor.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Peach is gonna kind of let him finish. Like, I'm not gonna cut him off at all, but as soon as he's done and I can start to see people get uneasy,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna kind of turn to them, and kind of take a slight step kind of closer, and just start to say, hey, at first I'm gonna probably clap to try and get their attention because
Yeah.
I literally think they're all probably starting to talk and not pay attention at this point.
Yeah. You do so, and they all turn.
Just like one, like not obnoxious, just like a hey.
Yeah, they turn, and like the mumbling of the room to that kind of quiet buzz of conversation quiets down.
I know that you're all scared right now, and believe me, I'm scared. Vina's scared. Olam's scared. We're all scared, and we all just want to go home. None of us want to be here on this ship, on this asteroid in the middle of nowhere. We all want to see our families. We all want to be back with our families. And yeah, they probably think that we might be dead or lost, or maybe they think that we're still alive somewhere. We have no way of knowing. But if you go right back to your families, you could die, your family could die, and it's a risk that I don't think any of you want to take. It's certainly a risk I don't want to take. And, you could go home and they could be fine. But I think that if you all stick together, I mean, you have a bond, and you have something that can hold you through this. You don't need to go and play into the hands of what you've already been dealt. We can help you. We can relocate you, and then we can get you home after we've made it safe. You're gonna have to trust us on this. We're looking out for you. And I'm gonna use I don't even know what would I use for that to help. Do I have to roll?
I am actually gonna have you make a roll here.
Yeah, I
So,
just gonna
this is going to be an intellect task with a difficulty of 4.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and use some effort to bring that down.
Okay. I think you're also probably trained in pleasant social interactions, right?
I am. I'm trained in pleasant social interactions.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, would my public speaking experience help that at all, or would that just be tied into pleasant social interactions?
I think that's
because I have specifically given persuasive speeches before.
right. I mean, I think that's sort of where your like training comes from.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
but I will let you know what. No, I don't think so. Never mind. I was gonna say that Decker could be an asset here, but I don't think he is actually at this point. He is.
He's just kind of there.
He's pretty. It's a pretty neutral element of this whole thing, of this whole situation. He's not helping you. But he's not really like working against you in any way. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, is it an asset that we've saved these people's lives?
You know what? Actually,
Like, we have saved them, and like they were gonna die.
We're trustworthy at this point.
Like they saw me, like some of them probably saw me like stop the warp. So
yeah. Actually, you know what? That's a good point, and I think based on that, I'll just reduce the difficulty basically. So that will bring the difficulty in total down to 1, I believe.
Okay. All right. I can roll for that.
Yeah.
That's
You
a
could roll
3.
or you could spend. Remember, you have that option.
Well, yeah, but didn't I already spend?
Effort,
you
yeah.
Oh, you
Yeah, I
did.
already
You spent
spent
to
effort.
Yeah,
lower.
that's
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Because
For
it was
this roll.
Yeah, because it was.
Okay, never mind.
Well, yeah, because he lowered the difficulty, so it was 3, and then I lowered it with pleasant social interactions, and
What
An
else
effort.
was it?
Yeah.
An effort. Yeah.
You
So
did do
it's
effort. Okay.
yeah. So it's a 1
Yeah.
difficulty now.
So
And I
3
don't
or
think I have
better.
anything else. So okay, guys. Okay. I'm gonna use my fireball dice. Let's see. 15.
Okay.
Ooh,
Yay.
nice.
There are a few quiet murmurs, as people seem to take in what you've just said. A couple people, you can see a couple people nodding along with you. One or two still look kind of skeptical, but they don't appear to be openly hostile to anything you just said.
That's always good.
And Brewer, he's just watching you, and he just says, after a moment, he's the first one to speak up. He says, "You know, these people did save us. They kept us safe on a few different occasions, and they've been working towards our best interests as far as I could see. I watched her take on a couple of the Warped, stopped them dead in their tracks. So, I don't like it, but if you think this is the right call, then it's the right call."
I hate to say it, but what's going on is just out of our control. We do what we can. And I know you all can make it through.
Yeah. Says, "Well, you made sure that I could see my little girl again, and you made sure that she would see something else besides that, well, everything that was going on down there. So it's good enough for me." There's some more quiet murmurs, and you just see nobody else speaks up, but you can kind of gauge that seems like everybody is basically on board, which Decker seems to sense it as well, which he says, he kind of steps forward again. He says, "Okay then," he says, "we'll start gathering our things." He says, in about half an hour, we'll meet back down at the boarding ramp, and we'll make our way to wherever the next stage is. And she's right. We're still together. We've still got each other. For now, that's going to have to be enough.
We've made it very clear to them, right, that like they can do whatever they want. We'll give them resources when we're able, but they get to make the decision for where they want to go, right? Like that was
Yeah.
kind of communicated.
Essentially,
But I thought we had specific places that we were like, didn't we have warehouses that we were sending them to
Yeah.
specifically?
So like they can go. I just feel like I wanted to make sure it was clear. Like we're not going to force that. Like these are the options that we've been able to scoop up for you. This is the best option probably, but like we'll help you with whichever direction you're going. But this is what we have.
I don't think Peach wanted that explained. I think Peach
Okay.
specifically wanted them
Yeah.
to know that.
Oh, Bean
because-
has been telling them probably since we're like, well, as soon as we get to Sulon, like,
yeah, no,
you
like
can do whatever you want, but we will help you with the thing
Peach-
that is going to keep you safe.
Peach and
yeah.
Peach and Decker are
Peach-
basically on the
sorry,
same
go ahead.
page here. Like the two of you had that conversation where basically you
You're
both
like,
agreed,
sorry.
and you're just like, "Listen, this is really the only option." And so, like,
Yeah, we were like, this is the best call, and like if we give these people too many choices, they might choose wrong, which is probably not the best thing to do, but in this circumstance, it was like
yeah, no, like
that might have been questionable.
Peach
but
and
we'll see.
Decker are of one mind in this instance, because
Good.
yeah. So he basically starts, as they start scattering and making their way to the hold where they have their stuff gathered. He turns back to you. He says, "Thanks. I'm not sure I could have convinced them myself."
It's okay. I'm glad you were here, though. I mean, it's always helpful to have a friendly face, but
Yeah.
take it easy, okay? You can't save all these people by yourself, okay? It's a team effort.
I'm starting to get that.
Get some rest if you haven't.
Not a chance. And he smiles at you and just makes his way, following the last person out of the observation room. We'll go ahead and cut to a little later, as Bina and Jade have already started working on making the necessary repairs. A few replacement parts have been bought, which is what's allowing you to do it at this point where you weren't able to before. As you've gotten a little ways in, the colonists are making their way out and sort of saying their goodbyes. A few of them sort of stopping and thanking each of you. One or two even just with like a quick handshake, or even a couple of them with a hug. You're all kind of gathered in the hold. In total, almost all of the colonists have opted to leave the ship. The two exceptions being Jade, who adamantly refused to leave. Basically, when given the option, he was just like, "Nope." And the other was Abriel.
Abriel, yes, we get to keep Abriel. Oh hell yeah!
Yeah.
Before, can I, Lucas? So when I was in the crowd talking to people, was Skrissa there?
Yeah, she would have been.
Was she like how? What was her? I didn't mention at the time because it was caught up. But what was her kind of general disposition towards the whole thing?
She was probably one of the people who was most on board with this plan.
Okay.
You had said like a session or two ago that you had specifically wanted to have a conversation with her at one point. Did you ever get to have that?
No, I didn't. But if she's already gone,
this right now. You're all kind of gathered in the hole.
Oh, okay.
As they're like they've got all their stuff gathered and they're getting ready to leave. But so we can actually have that at this point if you want, like just sort of a brief aside. As like she's passing down the line, you see her and you kind of make your way over to her.
Yeah, I mean if that's okay, Cool.
Currently, Decker, Coleman, and Zaya are getting everybody organized, and Zaya's telling them essentially what they're going to be doing and where they're going. And Skrissa's just sort of towards the back of the group, a Skoru woman with kind of green-brown plumage. As she notices you, she says, "Oh, hello. I don't think we had a chance to meet during any of this."
Nice to meet you officially.
Yes, and thank you for everything that you've done for us to help us.
Yeah, of course. I know that you kind of have a way with a lot of the colonists. It seems like you kind of a friendly face to them, and I just was hoping that you would be kind of a source of strength for them moving forward when you guys are kind of on this kind of new path.
Yes, of course. She looks at you and says, "Do you have children?"
No.
She glances over towards where you see a small Skoru boy who's like craning his neck to try to see through the crowd, just a few feet away. She says, "I've been a mother for some time now, and I'm no stranger to having to be strong for others."
And do you mind me asking, what was your position on the colony before all of that went down?
I was an administrative assistant within the research facility. Much different than some of the others. My position was a little bit higher in that I worked directly with the researchers rather than at the receptions, but yes.
And did you happen to see anything unusual while you were there?
You can see her expression and demeanor change as she suddenly seems a lot... it's not that she's being guarded with you or anything like that. It's more that her whole... like all of her defenses seem up suddenly, as if she's remembering something specific. And she turns to you after a moment and says, "See anything like what, exactly? Anything..."
Well, I was just thinking, I mean, if you were in a research assistant role and you saw the work that they were doing right before the warped were created, you might have some kind of insight, or you might have seen some kind of detail that maybe didn't seem important at the time, but maybe could be helpful to us.
Yes. Well, as you can imagine, I've spent a lot of time thinking about that myself, if mostly in a guilt capacity, thinking that if I'd seen something earlier, but there's no help for that now.
Well, it wasn't your fault.
No. But there was one thing, which is the researchers were, even with somebody who worked as closely with them as I did, they were very closed about what they worked on. And most of my work involved filing and sending reports that were approved for my eyes. But there were a few times where I caught glimpses into the research testing chamber, and there was some kind of, I knew that there was some kind of artifact that they were working on, studying, some relic from an ancient civilization that once inhabited this galaxy, or something of the like. Apparently it was something of a technological nature that they did not understand. They were studying it. I know very little, but from what I understood, there were parts of it that were still active, that they were trying to understand in some capacity. I don't know how much headway they made.
Did you ever witness the active parts? Or was it just all, you just typed up what they told you?
Mostly that, but on a few occasions I remember seeing into the chest chamber, catching glimpses through doors left open carelessly, and, well, I'm not sure how to explain it exactly. It was like some sort of, it was a sphere it was strange because it was in the center of the room, but it wasn't resting on anything. It was just suspended. And it was the strangest thing, but the surface of it seemed to shimmer like liquid, but it wasn't. It was an object, a solid object of some sort of unknown origin. But I don't remember many details about it, but I remember how I felt every time I saw it. It just strange, like I was being like I was the research subject under a microscope. Like somehow it was alive and it
was watching you.
Yes.
I'm sorry you had to see something like that.
You don't think that device had something to do with the warped, do you?
It's possible. Scarsa, I think it's very, very important that you keep anything that you saw there to yourself. I'm sure you know that, but
discretion is one of the first contracts that I signed, so
well, I won't make you sign a non-disclosure. I trust that you'll be honest.
Yes.
Space NDAs.
Well, that's all I can really remember. And
thank you.
It looks like we're getting ready to move, but thank you again.
Of course. And take care of these people. And take care of yourself.
Of course. She looks over at the little boy. She says a few words in their language, and he looks up at her and grabs her hand and looks over at you and smiles and just sort of shy wave.
I wave back and I just say, "Bright suns."
Mm-hmm. They exit the ship. Um, Bina, you and Jade are working in the engine room, working to repair, and currently your repairs they're getting underway.
Is it mostly interior work, or do I have to do anything on the outside of the ship? I think I've asked this before.
There's like superficial damage on the exterior,
Okay.
but most of it was this like the damage
FTL.
caused by surges
Okay.
due to the hit.
Cool.
The exterior stuff might be something that you want to look at eventually, but for right now,
For
it's
now.
not. It's minor.
Yeah.
And for the time being, it's the kind of thing that you could do basically anywhere at any time. So,
Engine's more important, anyways. It's more fun.
yeah. So, you're working on this, and while you're doing so, Jade is like struggling not to just like go off about everything that he's found while you were gone. And he's just like, every once in a while though, he seems not to be able to contain himself and just say, "Oh, and also I found some weird power coils over in that direction, but and they're not connected to anything, but they were at some point. I don't know. I don't really know, but."
I feel like Jade and Bean have a very similar communication style, in which it's just bursts of things we're excited about.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
works well, but also I feel like it's like he says something and she's like, oh, okay, and then she'll get distracted and then have to wait, circle back around.
It's
I think
less.
it's
I'm sorry.
no finish. What were you saying?
I was going to say it's less a conversation, more launching packets of information at one
Yeah.
another.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it's a little bit of like getting sidetracked, looking at cool things, and then wait, circling back, and then back to the engine, and then there's another thing we gotta look at. Yeah, it's like show and tell while also working. That's what's happening right now.
Yeah. As you're working, where are the rest of you at this point? Where in the ship would you be?
Or wherever the tour ended, wherever the bottle is.
Yeah, probably in the galley. They're
The galley.
yeah.
That's perfect.
I'm probably on the bridge.
Okay.
Just like looking at stuff, trying to understand how the ship works without breaking it too bad.
Are we like delivering the colonists like soon, or are we driving them there?
No,
Zaya's
Zaya's already
taking them.
left with them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Ooh,
It's just
so
us,
quiet.
Jade, and Abriel.
Yep.
And maybe the ghost.
And maybe the Toast. We'll find out.
I will say at this point, Olam, you being on the bridge, you're sort of like familiarizing yourself. I imagine you with like the equivalent of like a user manual of some kind.
Yes, exactly.
Like you pulled up some schematics of
Uh-huh.
of similar ships and stuff like that, and starting to look and say, okay, well, it says the central thrust control, so that's maybe this is it, and you're basically like going through like trying to piece together all the
Exactly.
different.
I'm trying to I'm just thinking okay, if gosh forbid something happens to Bina and somebody else has to fly this, I should be able to do that.
I wonder if like the encouragement ability that Bina has used before with them, like you suddenly understand things because Bina has any like residual effects that he can use as a jumping off
I
point.
don't know.
Lucas, we shrugged at exactly the same time in exactly the same way.
So
I'm also looking out the window for the big Lumnian guy because I'm still nervous about that.
yeah, you're kind of
you can see out from the bridge, right? There's
Right.
there's an actual viewport. Okay.
yeah. So you're kind of caught right at the moment between like looking around and looking through the technical specifications when you see the comm light blinking on the dashboard, and yeah, you see it. Do you activate it?
Does it say who it is?
It appears to be Zaya's frequency.
Okay. Yes, I activate it.
Yeah, you just hear, "Hey, are you all okay?"
Does it sound like Zaya's voice?
Yes, it is.
I say, yeah, it's all good here. How about you?
She says, well, you might want to be on the lookout. There's I just caught sight of a silver break transport that landed in the docks. Wire just told me. And also, Well, I mean, I was sort of attacked a little bit, but I handled that. She says,
Okay.
She said, these aren't your standard alley rats like I saved you from before. These are professionals. These are bounty hunters.
All right.
Cool.
I'll let everybody know you making your way back here.
I'm on my way.
Okay, we'll get this. We'll be in the air as soon as we can. We'll hold tight for you here.
Yeah. Zaya out, and the comms click.
And now I press.
No, go ahead.
I do the like button, like an intercom button, which I've just learned how to use so that my voice can be heard around the ship.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I explain what Zaya said.
Okay, so as you're doing that, before you actually your voice comes out, Bina, you suddenly feel a spike of anxiety from just around, nowhere in particular.
She's here.
And just as soon as you feel that, then all of a sudden Olam's voice comes over the comms and over the PA and explains what just happened.
Yeah.
And that wasn't Olam anxiety
Nope.
that I felt.
No, it was not.
I once again look around.
You don't see anybody but Jade, who is like looking at you wide-eyed. He says, "What do we do?"
Our job. We gotta finish this engine before.
Right. Yeah.
Gotta go.
Okay. And he like sets down.
No more distractions.
Yeah. He sets down the
As we
pad.
put down the coils we were looking at.
Yeah. He sets down. And says, okay, let's go. And as you proceed to begin, or you proceed to continue repairs on the ship, that's where we're gonna pick up next time.
Yep.
Oh, bounty hunting is a complicated profession.
All right. Well. Whew. Yeah, that's where we're at now.
Even
We've learned so many things.
even when it's like a relatively chill episode like that, as soon as we stop, I feel like this weird like adrenaline like
Yeah,
half-lifing out of my veins or
leftover-
something. Yeah, it's so weird.
Oh.
We're in a very high stress situation, despite the fact
Yeah.
that we mostly were information dumped on today. We're
That's
still
true.
very much
Hey,
in danger.
I was so happy for every information that was dumped.
Oh, it was very good. No, I loved all of it. Just, I'm saying, no matter how chill it is, we are still very much in
Yeah.
danger.
Yeah. So everybody, thanks so much for sticking with us, for hanging out with us tonight, and for watching our show. You can catch more Rule of Lore on Friday with Ramblemancy, where what are we talking about, Henry?
We're having a media discussion this week.
That's
Just
right.
Books, games, all of it. Whatever you're consuming or creating right now, what you think about it, how you feel about it, let's talk about it.
Yeah,
Nice.
that's right. I completely forgotten that's what we'd settled on.
Yep.
Uncomfortable.
I
All
have
right.
to-
The camera frame froze on you, man.
I thought it did too. Was that weird? No, that was me.
And then you can also catch us.
He made his own freeze.
You can also catch Rule of Lore again on Monday evenings, 5:30 p.m. Pacific, for Dreamwell Chronicles, our D&D 5e show run by our very own resident bard, John Boyle.
Ooh, John.
And Ramblemancy is at 7 Pacific, so that'll be this Friday. Remember that you can, if you liked what you saw, you can support the stream via Ko-fi, Patreon, or now you can buy merch, which we have, and there's some of the basic stuff in there, but there will be more coming soon. So that'll be in there. So yeah, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you the next time you decide to come roll with us. Good night, everybody.
Good night.